Several months ago, I decided I would begin video recording my exploration of historical and conflict gaming, whether hex encounter, miniatures, or even an occasional computer war game. This is another installment in this ongoing documentary. We're back here at the Battle of Patay, halfway through the battle, a little more than halfway through the battle. We're going to begin turn 6 of 11 total game turns. Just a real quick summary before we jump right back in. We have some English men-at-arms still routed up here, basically behind now the French front lines. Alençon continues to attack here in this direction, trying to get around the English right flank. The English have started to readjust their lines and basically close into a tighter perimeter. They still have longbowmen down here in the fight behind the hedgerow. Dunois' command, by the way, has lost two of its so the French have lost 3 men-at-arms units, and 2 of them are from Dunois' command. And so the bottom line effect of that is that Dunois is about a little less than halfway towards reaching its demoralization point, its demoralization level. So Dunois will have to watch that. So that's Dunois down there. He has gotten around the English left flank. He continues his attack. He's supported by some crossbowmen. Here is this routed heavy cavalry belongs to Dunois. So this is the remaining half of Dunois' command, and half of that formation is routed currently. Over here, La Hire still has the muster command as he reassembles his forces. This unit will probably just be lost and forgotten back here. This is an infantry unit from La Hire's command. Back here in the village, just outside of La Hire's command span, and he probably will not spend time to go back and rout him, or maybe he will. I guess we'll see what he decides to do. Line of crossbowmen here. Finally decided that the crossbowmen firing at 2 hexes at English behind the hedgerow is just not effective enough, so the French side needs to decide what to do with their crossbowmen there in the center. Here's Joan of Arc. I do need to remember that French units within 4 hexes of Joan of Arc have emboldened morale, but Joan is with 2 infantry units from Richemont's command. And here's Richemont. He has his attack order, and this will probably turn into the French main effort between Richemont and his heavy cavalry and Joan of Arc and her infantry. This is probably going to turn into the French main effort. They're going to try to attack here in the center and split the English in 2. That's where we are. So we start with turn 6 with that English longbow phase. Look down. So English Q, archer, longbowman. So he's out of regular arrows, but he has 2 sheaf arrows which he will not waste on a target that's not adjacent for now. Here, English I. still has arrows, both regular and sheaf, and I think I can fire over. Normally this friendly unit or combat unit would block line of sight and line of fire, but I think that he can fire over the friendly English men-at-arms at this stack here because the obstacle is closer to the higher unit than the lower unit. So I think that French longbowmen should be able to fire over the friendly unit and into that target there. And so he will do that. So this is longbowman at range 3 is column B with a regular arrow volley. Roll of 5, which might be it's a morale check. Yes, morale check. So the top heavy cavalry has 2 step losses, so its morale is the printed morale -2, so it's down to 5. Ooh, not good. Rolls a 10, -1 for the leader is 9, but that's still above the morale level of 5, so he will rout. And then the bottom unit is still at a, okay, so he's 7, -1 is 6, which is below his printed morale of 7. So the bottom units passes the morale check, but the top unit routs. I guess now, I'm not sure if it's ever specified, but Richemont will stay with the unit that passed his morale. Maybe he should go with the routed unit, but the fact that this heavy unit already has 2 step losses means that he's quite weak, and so he's not going to go with them. So they retreat 3 back. 1, 2, 3. Mark off an arrow volley from English I. Alright, around here, so English T, I think the English T replenished, but still only has sheaf arrows, so he's going to hold his fire and try to recover this turn. English R is completely out, so can't fire even if it wanted to. English G still has both sheaf and regular arrows, so English G is actually going to try to use sheaf arrows and drive Dunois away. Oops. Here. English longbowman has a sheaf arrow volley, has ammunition for a sheaf arrow volley, and we'll use that. Actually, that's the one last sheaf. Okay, so he's going to fire on the A column against Dunois here and try to drive him back. Ooh, 5. That's probably just a morale check. So Dunois and heavy cavalry. Heavy cavalry has a morale of 7. Ooh, just barely. So he rolled an 8, which would normally be a fail, but -1 for the leader is 7, which is equal to his current morale of 7. So he passes just barely. So the English. So now Golf longbowman is out of sheaf arrows and did not succeed in driving away the French heavy cavalry there. Alright, that's enough for the English longbow phase. Go to the French command phase. Okay, let's still want Alençon to attack. I still want Richemont to attack. Dunois will still attack to at least get through these longbows, at least. And then La Hire is actually ready to get back into the fight, actually. The question is only what what to do. So we know we want to have him try to change his order. This is the only one that we're going to try to change, so it doesn't matter about laying them all out. What do we want him to do? I think we just want him to advance. So we're trying to change from muster to advance. So I'll put out the advance marker, which we're trying to change to. His command value is a little bit better than average at 6. There, lower left, the higher command rating of 6, and he's not. Oops, he's here. Yeah, here. 1, 2, 3, 4, just outside the command range of his overall commander. So that does not influence. So just roll against his command rating. Yep, they roll a 2, which is enough to allow him to change his order. So he changes his muster order to advance, get him back into the fight. And that is the French command phase. French movement phase. French player checks to see if any units are out of command. I think everybody is in command. Everyone is in command. Movement. So there's a lot of movement that must happen because we have basically three attack orders. They all need to move towards the enemy, which the French are just going to try to bust through the English. And we have an advanced command as well, which will have to advance. So let's get the advance order out of the way, because what they're going to do is they're just going to move 1 forward for now. They're trying to figure out where they should reinforce, how they should make contact, where along the English line they should make contact again. Let's remember who we want to try to replenish arrows, because they will not be able to move if we want them to replenish arrows. So the higher E needs to replenish. The higher D is completely out. We know he needs to. That's him there. Who else is? Alençon, E, and F probably should. So that's E and F. That is actually doable, to leave those 4 where they are, so that they can 1, 2, 3, 4, so that they can try to replenish arrows. Yeah. So who else do we want to move? It's going to be risky, but let's try to. No, that, I imagine that would be suicidal. So what we'll do is we'll move. So remember that the skirmishers don't have flanks and rears. Every hex all the way around is a front hex. So they can move in any direction without bothering facing. They don't have facing, because every adjacent hex is a front hex. So what they're going to do is they'll just move aside like that, aside 2 like that, so that basically they can leave room for combat units to come through the center there. And then, okay, look at so over here, I want to look at, no, he is going to stay there, because actually he can fire on the English longbowman here, who will not get the benefit of the hedgerow. So Dunois E has, yes, he has ammo, so he's just going to fire away there, so that's fine. These guys are going to continue to try to sweep aside those longbowmen. So he's already adjacent, he doesn't have to, yeah. Yeah, he'll stay he'll stay there and try to eliminate that bowman. Over on the French left, see, he has to move with the attack order. He cannot sit back. So he could go after the bowman, but he's actually not going to do that. He's going to come over here and try to hit the flank of this English men-at-arms. So I think the right way to do it is, so he has 2 steps left, so he is down to a movement value of only 4. So remember, he gets a free first facing change. So he spent nothing. Now he's moving through frontal hexes, 1, 2. He enters an enemy zone of control. He has to stop. And he's the right facing. He now has the English men-at-arms in his front. He moved from here. He changed facing for free and went 1, 2 to enter the zoc of this English men-at-arms. And he's actually on his flank as well. That's good. Alright, so that takes care of them and the attack order here. Now the French men-at-arms here. I'm trying to remember if there's a minimum 1 hex move. I think there is. Is there a minimum 1 hex move? And how is it worded? It is yeah, units, unless restricted by their command, may always move 1 hex during movement. Okay, so there's a minimum 1 hex. Well, this is a reduced French men-at-arms here, so might as well cross over the hedge there and try to eliminate that routed unit. That's what he'll do. Richemont has to engage. It's only the question of where. I guess I'll go ahead and engage there. You know, he's with a full strength heavy cavalry unit. I guess I should have rolled to charge with him, but oh well. Now Joan with her infantry, we might as well. You know, I'm going to be a little, no. I'm going to be, oh, never mind. These 2 infantry units, though they're stacked with Joan of Arc, are part of Richemont's command. So actually they have to move forward. They have to advance. So 1. There we go. Remove them. Okay, so I think that is all the movement. French movement. Okay. I think I got it all. French player combat phase begins with defensive fire, so that's English defensive fire. First of all, who needs to reload? English R right here. Oh wait, he doesn't have that option yet. We obviously can't fire. English Golf here only has regular arrows, which actually he's going to try again. He's going to let loose a regular arrow. Ah, man, forgot all about this camera stuff. The English longbowman here. Okay, so this was English R. He needs to replenish. Can't do that yet because this is not a friendly combat phase. But he's out of arrows anyways. Golf is out of sheaf arrows, but he's going to use a regular arrow to fire at Dunois adjacent, which will just be on the B column instead of the A column. 7. That should be worth something. That's definitely worth something. So that is 7 on the B column is a morale check. So it is, yeah, 3 minus 1 for the leader is a 2, easily passes his morale check. And I subtract another ammunition box, or mark off another ammunition box for English Golf. All right. English T, I think is, yeah, he only has sheaf arrows. He's still not going to waste them. English I. No, I don't think he can see over the friendly unit again, although it never did get any resolution on hex size. Q is still, yeah, only a sheaf arrow, so that's it. So the English crossbow fire is really slowed down. Of course, they've also lost 4 longbow units, but boy, it has really slowed down. So the first really 4 turns were dominated by English longbow fire, and now it's really starting to decrease in effectiveness now. So now we go to offensive fire, so that's French offensive fire. I'm going to hold their fire here. It's just not worth it to waste crossbow ammunition against the English behind the hedge there. But Dunois E is definitely going to fire at the English our longbowmen here because they're already behind the hedge. So that's 2 away, which is still column C. Ooh, and they get a 10. So get a 10. It's probably going to be a, okay, yep, that is still a 10. So how we do this again is we look at for the type, which is crossbow. He's a French crossbowman. Okay, so you can clearly see the crossbow, yep, figure there. All right, so he's a French crossbow. He's firing at 2 hex range. It shows the table there that he executes on the C column of the fire table. Come down to the fire table, go across to the C column. We rolled a 10, go down to the 10 column, and the result is a 1. Come down here, 1 is explained down here. Top combat unit in the target hex suffers a step loss, and all combat units in the hex check morale. The English longbowman is only a 1-step unit, so because he has nothing on his back side, so he is a gunner. That's the 5th English longbow unit. We still, of course, mark off a ammunition box for Dunois E. But that was great. That was nice for the French. That is it for offensive fire. Now we go to melee. Do the French have any? Well, actually there's mandatory melee. So this one is going to be melee 1. This will be melee 2 and melee 3. There we go. Marked my melees in order. Alright, so this is melee number 1 right here. Melee number 2 and 3 is down here. Alright, so melee 1. Go right through our melee procedure. We have 2 reduced, 2 reduced heavy cavalry, French heavy cavalry against an English men-at-arms. First thing is, so we've identified our melees, who's attacking, who's defending. Attacking units have to check for morale. So we'll go here first. Again, the way this works real quick. So here is the French heavy cavalry. French heavy cavalry there. On the left there, obviously. So it's a movement of, combat value of 5, combat strength of 5, movement value of 6, and morale of 7. Each of those 3 values is reduced by 2 for the 2-step loss marker. So his current morale is 5. So he needs to do a morale check to see if he stays in the fight here. Okay, so he has to roll 5 or less. He rolls a 3. So we know he is in the fight. Now we go to the other heavy cavalry. He has only a 1-step loss. So his current morale is 6. So he rolled a 10, -1 for the leader stacked with him, but that's still 9, which is well over his current morale of 7. So this heavy cavalry unit lost heart and did not, make contact with the target. So that leaves the reduced 1-step remaining heavy cavalry in the fight. So now we go to the, so there is no skirmish or cavalry unit retreat, and because at least one attacking unit passed their morale check, now, by the way, just to clarify, he still must carry through the attack. There is no calling off the attack at this point. That's not allowed. So the English men-at-arms, who have a pretty good morale of 8, they have to pass their morale check to see if they stand. Ooh, and they just barely make it with an 8. Right there, they just barely make it with an 8. So they're in the fight. Now we go to the simultaneous rolling on the melee table for effects. All right, so do it in any order because it's simultaneous, doesn't matter. We'll do the French first. Their strength is 5, printed 5, -2 for 2-step losses is 3. So we know that they're firing on the very first column there. We know they're executing on that column. Now we go down, right down the melee table modifiers. We'll use the look for melee odds modifiers. We'll use the unit type modifier table where we compare the attacker, which is heavy cavalry, against men-at-arms, which is actually nothing, a nil. Okay. So we know that's nil. So we'd go a combat unit with an attack command when attacking has a +1 die roll modifier, so that's +1. Routed, leaders, defenders rear or flank. He is attacking through the English flank side, so he gets another +1. So now we're up to +2. Terrain, they're on the same level 2 terrain, so there's no modifier there. We just said the unit type modifier table yields nothing. And now we go to, the odds are 3 to 8. Run that down to 1 to 3, which means that we're looking at the 1 to 2 or less line for -1. So now we're back down to just +1. Just +1. So the French roll, they get a not bad 7. Add 1 for 8. 8 on the 1 to 3 strength column is a morale check. Just barely got a morale check. So I just put a little 6 on the English for my reminder that he has a morale check as a result of this. Now we go to the English responding. They are 8 strength, so he's rolling on the 7 to 10 column for strength 8, for 8 combat strength points. He is defending with a stand command, so he has +1. Routed, leaders, flank or rear, that only applies to the attacker. No terrain, unit type modifier is nil, and the melee odds modifier only applies to the attacker, so he has a +1 for having a stand command. So he rolls a 4, add 1, add 1 is 5. 5 on his column is a morale check. So they both have morale checks. Again, we'll go to the defender first. So the English have a morale of 8. They have a morale of 8. They roll 3, which means they easily pass the morale check. And the French have to pass their morale check, and they pass theirs as well. They roll a 4. So both pass their morale checks. So basically a big they faced off against each other, but not much fighting actually wound up taking place. So that was the first combat, melee. Now go to the second melee. Again, the attacker rolls for morale. Ooh. So again, his printed morale is 7. He rolled an 8, which would normally be a fail, but we subtract 1 from the die roll for the leader, Richemont, being with him. So we drop that to a 7, which just barely means he just barely passed that morale check. Now we see if the English men-at-arms are going to stay in the fight. They are reduced. Their current morale is 5. Ooh, they roll a 10. So they fail their morale check. And now they're in... Oh, no, they're not in trouble because they can go around this way. So we grab a route marker. Getting a lot of routed units now. Grab a route marker. So we look. He cannot, so for retreat purposes, he can't go here because of the enemy Zoc of the unit that attacked him. He cannot go through any of these friendly units here. He cannot go here because of the Zoc of these units. He cannot go here because of the Zoc of this stack. So the only thing left is to go straight back this way. 1, 2, and 3. So that is a 3-hex retreat that's allowable. He did not enter any enemy Zocs. He did not pass through any occupied hexes. So he's good. There, Richemont advances. And that's that. Down here to the third melee. Right here, Dunois and his heavy cavalry. Check morale. They pass because they rolled a 6. -1 for the leader is 5, which is underneath his morale of 7. Oh, whoops. This is a skirmisher. So the English longbow unit here, right here, English longbow. So we have to go through those steps. Skirmish and cavalry units which have retreat or stand commands. This is a skirmish unit with a stand command. I'm sorry, skirmish units don't, I'm saying that wrong. Skirmish units do not have any commands. It's skirmish and cavalry units with a retreat or stand command. Those are the two categories. It's easy to read it differently, but it's skirmish and cavalry with retreat or stand commands, which are about to be attacked by enemy infantry, but they're being attacked by heavy cavalry, so that case doesn't work. Skirmish units being attacked by cavalry units, that's this case. Skirmish unit being attacked by cavalry may retreat on a die roll of 8, 9, or 10. So let's see if the English longbow get away. They do not. They roll a 4, which means that they're not able to slip away, which means that they now have to roll for their morale to see if they stand and accept combat. 4. So their current morale is 6, so they do accept combat. Yeah, so now we'll just roll on, go through the whole melee procedures. Okay, we'll do the French first. They have a combat value of 6. So they're on the 4 to 6 column. And then we'll go through all of our modifiers. They have an attack command and they're attacking, so that's +1. They're attacking 2 to 1, sorry, 2 to 1. 6 combat factors to 3 English longbow factors. So that's 2 to 1, so they have another +1, that's +2. They're not attacking through flank or rear because, again, skirmish units don't have flanks or rears. No terrain, but they're, leaders. Dunois has a +1, so now we're up to +3. And now we finally go down to the unit type modifier. So attacking is heavy cavalry, and they are attacking skirmishers right here. So it's +1. Heavy cavalry attacking skirmishers +1. So we're up to +4. +4. Yeah, 6. Roll a 6. +4 is 10. 10 on that call. Oh, wow. Still a morale check. Just didn't have enough combat power. If they had been in the next column up, they would have eliminated. So it's actually a morale check. So the longbowmen get to fire back. They're on the first column because they only have 3 combat power. They have a stand command and they're defending, so it's +1. Routed leaders, flanker, rear, terrain, unit type modifier, skirmish unit, attacking heavy cavalry is -2. So now we're down 1. Down 1, down 1, down 1, down 1. Ooh, he rolls a 2. -1 is 1. So that's obviously nothing on the table. So now we have that English morale check. Current morale is 6. And he rolls a 6. He just barely passes. Wow. Yeah. So they stood. Huh. Didn't expect that. So, So that was the French melee. Melee. English player rally phase. Oh wait, right now all these 4 crossbow units have sat and not conducted combat through the friendly movement and combat phases of the turn. So they all replenish 2 ammunition boxes. So we'll go through order here. We've got Alençon F. Alençon F. Alençon F recovered 2. Alençon E recovers 2. La Hire D covers 2. And then La Hire E covers 2. Alright. For the benefit of everything, make sure that this is correct, that all units recover 2. If the unit has not moved and does not engage in combat in either combat phase, friendly or enemy, the unit replenishes 2 boxes on its ammunition track. Yep. Okay. So it doesn't matter what type of bow unit or what have you. So the French recovered some crossbow ammunition. Now we go to the English rally phase. English rally phase. He is out of command range, so he is not going to have any. Oh, whoops, that's the French. Supposed to be doing the English. There's still the unit way over here. He's out of command span of any commander, any leader, so he's not doing anything. Oh, you know, I forgot this. Forgot this combat over here. We're going to execute this combat even though I forgot it, because we're going to see what happens when you melee a unit that's routed. Okay, so first the French unit has to pass his... Okay, the attacker didn't even pass his morale check. He rolled a 10. So, that's interesting. I assume that's right. I mean, I don't remember any... Oh yeah, I mean, I guess it's a routed unit. Doesn't mean it's completely, you know, harmless. All right. English rallies. We have this one. So he is clearly within this command span of his leader. He has current morale, or printed morale is 6. Ooh, so you roll 1, add 1 for being routed, 9, which is way over his current morale of 6, which means that he routes 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. And then this one that just routed, its morale is 5. Oof, rolls a 6. Add 1 for being routed is 7, which is more than its 5. He routes 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, it's not good. Alright, so those are the English rallies. Now we go to the English command phase. They're still going to stick with their stand orders. There's really no reason still to change those or consider changing them. English player movement phase. First, no one's out of command because Fastolf has his units right here. Talbot has his here, and yeah, 1 routed unit there. Yeah, so no units are out of command. Nope. Now movement. How best to defend. Now, this was, I don't know if these rules clear it up any better, but combat units may change facing without moving from the hex they occupy. So I guess, I remember interpreting this before. The question is, can a unit that begins the movement phase in an enemy ZOC change facing? Units must stop when it enters enemy ZOC. May move no further in that movement phase, regardless how many movement points it has remaining. The question is, does facing change count as movement? It sounds like it doesn't, even though facing changes may cost movement points. So that was the right, facing changes in another sense are not movement. Even though some facing changes may cost movement points. That is, I guess, one way to look at it. Now I'm wondering whether I had that the best interpretation or not. Enemy units in movement. A friendly combat unit may never enter a hex occupied by an enemy combat unit. A friendly combat unit may enter a hex containing only an enemy leader. That's it. That's it. Facing. Facing. I still don't know. I don't know. One way is to simplify it and say that he can change facing in an enemy Zoc because facing change is not movement. But the other way to look at it is that that's too easy. It's harder, maybe more challenging. Now I'm afraid I might be going back and forth, so oh well. I'm going to go the harder route and say he's already in a Zoc. He's not going to be able to move by changing his facing in the enemy Zoc because he's already there. I wonder what's been written online about that. Oh well. We could move the longbowman here. Could move the longbowman here around for more safety, or leave him there to maybe harass. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to move him up one to harass the French cavalry there. Leaving an enemy Zoc. Routed units may also leave an enemy Zoc. So this routed unit can move half of his movement allowance, which is 1.5. 1.5, I assume rounding up to 2, so he'll move 2 away. You know, I think he has to move this way. Oops. Right here. So he moved half of his movement allowance away from the enemy. This guy will stay put. English still has sheaths, okay. Actually, that's all the English movement. Although I see the English lines quickly collapsing in here. Although the French have taken a lot of losses. English player combat phase. I'm not sure to risk anything. Yeah. He's actually not going to risk any combat, actually. French rally phase. French definitely have some rallies to do here. Here we've got this one. He is actually just beyond the command range of his leader. Yeah. Yes, he is. Just beyond the 4 command span of Richemont here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he will not be attempting to rally, but he will over here. He is, here's his leader, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's just beyond as well. So these three cannot attempt to rally because they don't pass the qualifications to rally. Alright, so that's the end of turn 6. Turn 7. Next.